Hi all, welcome to the second session on Docker. We are quickly going to cover all the basic commands of Docker which we will be using whenever we are working on Docker platform. Well, I'm not going to include the part where we are going to install Docker in be it video Windows or Mac OS or Ubuntu or any other operating system. If you really want it, let me know in the comment box and I'll definitely upload a video about how to install Docker. But if you really don't have a setup and you are watching this video and you want to quickly get on board and start working with Docker, you can this is the uh, open platform created by Docker Playground. Docker Playground. This is an IDE which Docker provides. You just have to log in, create an ID, create a Docker ID. I have already created it. That's the reason it shows me start option. But when you log in for the first time, it will ask you to log in via your Docker ID, and you have to create. If you don't have a Docker ID, sign up with your basic details, and then you'll get this option. And once you press start, this is the screen that will open. You have a 4-hour window where you can do whatever you want on Docker platform. Add a new instance. It will open this. Press Alt Enter, and this is the full window of Docker where you can run all Docker commands without any problem. So this is the easiest way if you don't really want to install Docker on your laptop or on your machine and still want to go through the Docker commands. You want to build, you want to create, you want to do whatever you want with Docker. Just log into this platform and enjoy for 4 hours. Um, so let's start. Um, if you see this terminal that you see, it's Docker installed on Ubuntu, and Ubuntu is installed on a virtual machine of Oracle, which is VirtualBox. So um, if you see, my Docker is running in this way. We have the server, which is my Core i7 machine. Then we have host OS, which is Windows 10. Then I have hypervisor. I'm not using hypervisor. I've disabled hypervisor, but I'm using Oracle's Visual VirtualBox. I've installed that. I've downloaded. I've installed that, and uh, on that uh, VirtualBox, I have installed Ubuntu, which is the guest OS, and on Ubuntu, I have installed Docker Engine, and on Docker Engine, we'll be running all the applications. So this is a combination of virtualization, containerization on top of virtualization. So I have kind of compiled, and I'm using this Docker platform. So once you have installed the Docker, the first command that you will run in order to check if the Docker is successfully installed or not is Docker version. This will give you two main things. One is client and the server. These are the two things which will keep communicating with each other. Client is the one is the command line interface from where we'll be running commands, and server is the Docker engine from which will which will listen to client and then respond to whatever command that you executed with the output, and then client will show us on our terminal. And also, if you see, the version right now that I'm using is 19.03.8. This is, I guess, the latest version that I'm using. And let's move on with the next second command, which is Docker info. Now, what is Docker info? Docker info, if you see, gave us a lot of information, right? So it actually returns the detailed information on the Docker service installed on your machine. The output will provide various details of the Docker installs, like number of containers, number of images, number of containers which are running, which are paused, which are stops, which is your storage driver, which is your root directory. It's somewhere down the root directory. Yeah, this is the root directory. And if you directly want to check which is your root directory, just go grab basic command, and then you'll see that the Docker directory is this. So basically Docker info and Docker version are the two basic commands which will let you know that the Docker version, that Docker installed on a system is working fine. And also what is your version, how many basic details of your Docker you need to know, you'll get it with these two commands. Also we have one extra which goes like this, format, and then uh, this is the other another format if you want a specific, if you want really something specific. For example, if you want Docker info format in JSON format. Okay, so what you will do is you will just go in JSON and then you'll type this, and it will give you the entire output that you saw above in JSON format. This is the exact format which was returned by Docker server to Docker client, and this was returned by the REST API. So Docker client and Docker server both communicate with each other with REST API, which I have already explained in the previous session about overview of Docker. So similarly, if you see, if let's try to see, if I just want to see the Docker version, the server version in this specifically, we will do version. We will remove this and see. So this will give me only the Docker version. So this is indirectly we are using the REST API, and we are calling only one key value pair of server version and getting the output. The key value pair of server version, we are getting it in output, the whatever the pair, whatever server version was paired with. So these are the two basic commands. Now um, let's let's try to run. You know, we have been running hello world problem since we started running programming, learning programming, and hello world has always been our favorite. So I ran docker run hello world. So if you see, it says unable to find image hello world latest locally. One second, it said unable to find image hello world locally. Then its second line says pulling from library hello world, and then pull complete, and this is the output of this command. So 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 I mean, like the first question that you people might ask is like, why did I run Docker run hello world? Why not Docker hello world run, or why not Docker just hello world? Why only I used Docker? So we'll be covering all the different formats, the syntaxes those are which are standard and which will be very handy to understand and to work with our development part. So let the first syntax that we need to understand is Docker run. The first command that we run is, as you see, Docker run hello world. So what is Docker run? Let's try to run one more command, Docker run alpine echo hello from alpine. See, I again ran Docker run alpine. Alpine is a Linux distribution. It's the smallest Linux environment. It's like it's a 5 MB. It is the smallest environment that Linux provides, that you can run all the Linux commands. So okay, now hello from Alpine is what we got. So that's some actual output. In this case, Docker client dutifully ran the echo command. Where did it go? Okay, yes, the echo, it dutifully ran the echo command in our Alpine container and then exited. Right? It ran this command echo. It downloaded the library. It downloaded the image. It ran the command and then it exited. So if you have noticed, all of that happened pretty quickly, right? I mean, imagine booting up a virtual machine, running a command and then killing it, and now and now you are most like, for example, if I have to launch Docker, it takes me uh, 2, 3, or 4 minutes because I have to launch first Ubuntu, then I have to go to terminal, and then I have to run this then run this Unix commands. So it's a long process. But here, when I have a Docker environment, within few seconds we ran a Unix command. So when we ran this command, this specific command, what exactly happened? Well, behind the scenes, a lot of stuff happened. When we call run, there were a lot of things going in the background. Let's first break this command. Docker run alpine, then echo is our command. So the run command is used to mention that we want to create an instance of an image, which is then called a container. So this is running an instance of an image, and alpine here is the image. Now, what is an image? Images are everything in Docker. File system and its related dependencies combined together in a file of instructions is what an image is. We'll be studying in depth we'll be studying a lot of commands about how to handle these images. But let's try to understand this with this figure. Okay. Um, let's try to understand what happened when we ran docker run alpine command. The Docker client, this is the Docker client, it contacted Docker daemon and it said, hey, something needs to be done. So now the Docker daemon then checked our local server. This is our local server. If the image, which is alpine, available locally, it couldn't find it. So it went to Docker store, downloaded it, and pulled it back. So the downloaded, if we would have run pull command, we will see pull command, how we can use pull command as well in few minutes. But if we would have used pull command already, this process of searching in the Docker Hub would have been saved because we would have already downloaded the image in our local repository. But here, as we haven't used pull command, the Docker client connected with Docker daemon. Docker daemon searched in our local repository, it didn't find it, so it went to Docker Hub, and then Docker it found that specific, if we would have written some wrong name, for example, instead of Alpine, I would have written Appline. It couldn't find locally. It went to Docker Hub and then it gave us a response that okay, pull access defined for Appline because it does not exist. So it found Alpine in Docker Hub, it pulled it, it saved it in our local repository, and then the Docker daemon created the container. By using that image, it created a container, and entered that container, it ran our command, which is echo hello from Alpine, and then post execution, the Docker daemon streamed the output. Like here, this is the output which was streamed, which it gave to the Docker client, and then post viewing this, post streaming this output, it exited. So if we go again, what happened with run, we'll try to again understand. This is the client CLI, which is our terminal, where we gave our command docker run alpine echo hello world from alpine. Docker client, by using REST API, contacted Docker daemon. From Docker daemon, when Docker daemon received the command, it tried to search in our local repository if we have that Docker image. It couldn't find it, so it went back to Docker Hub. So it approached Docker Hub. which is the public repository for all the generic softwares applications. It found Alpine, it pulled it back, it saved it in our local repository. Then from that local repository, it created a container. From that image, it created a container, and then entered that container, executed the command, and then exited. After printing the output, it exited from the terminal. So that's all what happened when we ran just this basic command. So Docker run is basically a command which creates a writable container layer of the reference image, which is Alpine, that we gave here, and then it started the container and then ran the command which we specified. So that's how this specific thing works. Now, if you see, I mean, like, I don't want to exit from this session. I want to stay inside. I want to stay inside the Alpine Linux uh, terminal. So now what I can do here if I want to stay inside. So the command will stay same. We'll add just one combination. No, we added just one combination of params, which is IT. I ran it. Okay, sorry, this is SH. We are running in Alpine, so we'll go in SH. Okay, so we added just one param, which is IT. Now, what is I and what is T? I stands for interactive mode and T stands to allocate a pseudo TTY. So together IT combine instructs Docker to allocate a pseudo TTY connected to the container's std in, creating an interactive bash shell container, which is this. After running this command, we have entered the container shell, and now we can try out few commands. For example, lsl, it works fine. Or if you want to see this, so we know this is the Linux terminal. This is the version. This is the version, and when was it last updated, and so on. So so and now we have exited and we are out of the terminal of Alpine. So that's how we can run. We can download an image. Run is so powerful command that we can do anything. For example, if I can run one Ubuntu image, Ubuntu image. Okay, so we are running Ubuntu in Ubuntu. So I gave docker run ubuntu bin bash. We are trying to enter into bash shell by using this command, docker run it ubuntu bin bash. It did the same. It couldn't find Ubuntu in our local repository. It approached the Docker Hub. It found this Ubuntu. It downloaded it, and then we are here. We have entered the terminal, the bash shell, and now we can similarly do the same thing. It's like we are inside the Ubuntu. We can run whatever we want. Cat, or I don't know, who am I? W. Okay, so this is how we can run any number of images. We can run any number of operating systems. We are running. We have, um, if I run this, I'll tell you about what the Docker PS. But if you see, we have run Ubuntu, we have run Alpine, we have run Alpine, we have run Hello World. So we have run basically two OS operating systems on one single window. So that's how powerful the run command is. We'll see further more commands in the next session.